4 years, people whispered that Johnny Carson, the king of late night, kept secrets locked away where no camera could reach. But when the doors of his private garage were finally opened, what lay inside stunned even those who thought they knew him best: hidden treasures, untold stories, and shocking discoveries. This was Carson as the world had never seen before. On January 23, 2005, the world lost a voice it had trusted for 3 decades. Johnny Carson, the legendary host of The Tonight Show, passed away at the age of 79 from complications of emphysema. In his final days, he fought a quiet battle with the illness that had taken hold of his lungs. Those close to him described him as frail, but still carrying the same dry wit that had once made millions laugh. His health had been declining for years. Yet the news of his death felt sudden, leaving fans stunned. The man who had been called the king of late night was gone. Television networks ran tribute after tribute. Headlines mourned the loss of a cultural giant. Friends and former colleagues spoke with heavy voices, remembering his sharp humor, his timing, and his ability to connect with ordinary people from behind a desk. But as the grief spread, so did whispers. Carson had been intensely private, even to those closest to him. There were immediate rumors that his home still held secrets. Boxes no one had ever seen. Locked rooms never entered, perhaps even letters that could change the way people remembered him. Biographer Bill Z once said, "Johnny Carson was an enigma, a man who gave everything on stage and nothing once the curtain closed." That very mystery fueled the curiosity of both fans and journalists. They wondered what might surface now that he was gone. If Carson had kept his deepest thoughts hidden during his lifetime, maybe his estate would speak for him. Soon, estate executives began the slow work of cataloging his possessions. The task was monumental. Carson had lived a life surrounded by both luxury and memory. Every room carried signs of his journey, awards stacked on shelves, photographs of a young Johnny smiling with guests, and objects that hinted at stories never told. The executives moved carefully from room to room, unlocking cabinets and marking boxes. Yet, despite the weight of history in the house, they kept circling back to one place that drew the most attention: his garage. But as they walked through the front doors of his mansion, they had no idea the real secret lay behind the garage door. In 1984, Johnny Carson made a choice that revealed as much about his inner world as his public silence ever did. He purchased a breathtaking estate on the bluffs of Point Dume in Malibu, California. The deal cost him $9.5 million, a staggering figure at the time. But for Carson, it was more than just property. It was a retreat, a sanctuary where he could step away from the relentless eyes of America that had watched him for 30 years from behind the Tonight Show desk. The land stretched across 4 acres, overlooking the endless blue of the Pacific Ocean and Little Dume Beach below. To walk those grounds was to feel that the ocean itself was part of the home. Gardens bloomed in soft colors, koi ponds glistened, and even an aviary whispered with the calls of exotic birds. There were orchards heavy with fruit, terraces with scattered seating areas, and at the heart of it all, the main house, a 7,100-foot marvel of modern architecture. The mansion was the creation of architect Ed Niles, who favored glass and wood to dissolve the walls between inside and outside. Carson's home felt less like a house and more like a living work of art. Towering glass panels opened to the sea, and a 30-feet-high glass ceiling arched above an indoor arboretum where real trees grew, their branches stretching toward the light. Inside, life unfolded across 3 levels. The upper floor held Carson's sanctuary, a primary suite with sweeping ocean views, walk-in closets, and dual offices where he could retreat with his thoughts. The main levels were designed for comfort and for show. An expansive kitchen, a wine cellar, terraces that blurred the line between indoor and outdoor life, and a media room where Carson could enjoy others' performances rather than give his own. The estate was complete with a saltwater pool, spa, tennis court, and a pavilion said to have been a gift from NBC itself. Parking areas and a motoric court sprawled wide enough to hold dozens of cars, each space echoing with the possibility of secrets locked away on wheels. Yet, despite the openness of glass walls and soaring ceilings, Carson himself was rarely open. He was known for being warm and witty in front of an audience, but cool and distant in private. Few were invited past those glass doors. Those who were often remarked that even inside his own home, Carson carried an air of mystery. When the executives began to inventory the house after his death, they found more than awards and photographs. Boxes labeled miscellaneous lined back rooms, some locked tight, and cabinets stood sealed, keys missing. Certain storage areas were marked as off-limits, even to longtime staff. During one tense moment, an assistant hesitated before turning the handle of a locked door, unsure of what might lie inside. They didn't yet know that just behind the garage wall, another door waited, and behind that, a treasure trove of mysteries. The garage door rumbled upward, its metal panels clattering until a beam of light poured across polished chrome. Dust drifted in the air, the kind that only collects when a room has been locked for too long. What lay inside wasn't just a collection of cars. It was a time capsule, a secret museum of Johnny Carson's private life. Parked neatly in rows were machines that told his story better than any interview ever could. At the far end sat a 1939 Chrysler Royal, faded with age yet glowing with memory. This was the car that had belonged to his father. The very one in which Carson learned to drive. The Chrysler wasn't about luxury or performance. It was about roots. Years later, he left it in his will to Jay Leno, almost as if passing a torch from one late-night legend to another. Then came the stainless steel star of the collection, the 1981 DeLorean DMC-12. With its gull-wing doors and futuristic design, it looked like something frozen in time. Carson had been more than a fan. He had been an early investor in the DeLorean company, putting $500,000 into its dream. The car had once trapped him inside when its electrical system failed, leaving him pounding on the glass until help arrived. That moment became one of his comic anecdotes. But here, in the dim quiet of his garage, the DeLorean felt like a metaphor. Doors that would not open, secrets that would not let go. Beside it was a sleek 1988 Mercedes-Benz 560C finished in a pristine white with leather interiors. Unlike the DeLorean, it wasn't a spectacle. It was elegant, understated, a choice that revealed Carson's craving for comfort and refinement. He kept it for over a decade, long after other cars had come and gone. Some whispered it carried more than memories. A valet once suggested there had been documents tucked into its glove box, items Carson never wanted to leave the house. There was also his 1992 Chevrolet Corvette, a symbol of his later years. This was his last car, his final ride. Some believed it marked the closing chapter of his restless pursuit of the open road. Others wondered if he had left something personal within it, a journal or perhaps letters he never sent. And tucked away near the back, a rare 1966 Gear 450 SS. Its Italian curves hinting at another side of Carson. One that enjoyed the exotic, the unusual, the rare finds hidden from the spotlight. But the cars were only part of the mystery. As the executives looked closer, they noticed odd details. Boxes marked miscellaneous, stacked against the wall, cabinets locked with no keys in sight, a folder wedged awkwardly behind a tool rack. One assistant hesitated before prying open the folder. Inside was a single sealed envelope yellowed with time. The handwriting was unmistakable. Johnny's. The name on the front was not one anyone recognized. The room fell silent. 4 years, Carson had been called aloof, even by those closest to him. Now here was proof that his private life still held stories untold. The envelope trembled in their hands. They began to unfold the fragile paper inside. And in that moment, they realized it might rewrite everything we thought we knew about Johnny Carson's life. For decades, Johnny Carson was the smiling face America trusted every night. But off-camera, his private world was more complicated. His life was shaped not only by the applause of millions, but by the relationships he struggled to hold together at home.